Well, good afternoon. Welcome to Masculinity, Blessing or Curse. I am your host, T.R. Coverson. I want to help to see if we can bridge the gaps between the Moses generation and the Joshua generation because we are going through a phase of change. And it is important that those of us who are in this senior generation be able to pass knowledge. But we have reached a precipice in our lifetimes such that there is information that must be passed from the Joshua generation and Gen Z forward so that those of us in this Moses generation, that I like to call it, are also impacted. Today, however, I was in a conference recently and there was a point, something that came up in that conference that I thought was very interesting. So here's a question that I'll pose to you, and hopefully you'll give me some feedback and input. The question is, what is the difference between a jungle lion and a zoo lion? A jungle lion and a zoo lion. Well, on the surface, the jungle lion is in his natural instinct, is in his natural environment, I'm sorry, so that he is doing those things that is primarily motivated by eating, feeding himself and his family. And that's all he's concerned about. And so he becomes ferocious, he becomes tenacious, he becomes aggressive because he's about feeding himself and his family. That's the jungle lion. That's his natural instinct. He's feeding himself. The growl, the roar, all of those things are about him being in his natural habitat, doing those things that he naturally does for survival. The zoo lion, on the other hand, those things are not necessary for him because in the zoo, he's going to be fed on time. There's no reason for a chase. You've taken away those things that would have been naturally there for the cause of domestication, civilization, etc. Which is best? Well, it's an opinion. But here's why that comes up to me. I was at a conference not long ago, and the conference dealt with the subject of unity, of marriage, et cetera, et cetera. And a person blurted out, or a person made the comment that in every situation where people have come together, there is a necessity for communication. And while on the surface I agree with that, a thought hit me that when we're dealing with, and this is probably controversial, I'd love to get your opinions. When we're dealing with the difference between men and women, I would say that communication is a better weapon in the hand of a female than a male. Because words are things that women use more effectively, usually, generally. And again, I'm open to your opinions and thoughts. But words are those weapons that women can use easily. Men are more about the action. Okay. And I think that's why when a man hears a woman say, we need to talk, oh God, we don't want to talk because we've been positioned. And here, watch this one. Even when little girls are little girls, what typically is happening, she's usually not always, not universally, but she has a doll and she has a relationship. She's developing relationship with the doll, family, et cetera, et cetera. She has a doll, she's embracing, she's talking to it, and there are conversations even with the doll. The boy, he's wrestling. He's throwing things. He may be building things, but when I was a boy, it's cowboys. And so I'm falling off a building, I'm diving off a rock, I'm playing football. It's those things that create action. He's doing something. It's about a goal. It's about competing. It's about something that gets him active. You see where I'm going now? It's the difference between a jungle lion and a zoo lion. What seeks to happen with communication, with domestication, is to bring out civilized beings. But if we take all of the natural instinct away, we have a society of zoo lions void of his natural instinct to chase, to roar. I think words are effectively used. Certainly, we need to be civilized. We live in a society where we should be civilized. But there are things that happen in life where roaring becomes what must be done. Because your environment has put you in a place where competitiveness, where aggressiveness is something that has to be used. And that's why I've said in episodes before, why often the religion of men is often deemed as masculinity. Because that instinct in him to chase, to run, to compete, to fight, the passion, the hunger, all of those things are there. And as we become civilized and domesticated, we temper down those instincts and those desires. The war with words. I was talking to a friend of mine about this, and he said, if you put a boy, one of the most intimidating things for a young boy is to stand in front of his classroom to read. In fact, he said the boy would more likely act up to avoid going before the class to read. Girls, on the other hand, oh boy, they stand up, they read, and all of those things, they're very comfortable with it. So the communication angle, the communication gift, is one that is treasured, that is given credence, even in younger ages. So it's a thing. And I'll call this the silence of the lion. Men now boys grow up to be men, and we are still silent in a domesticated, civilized environment. And that's why we're 4 times as likely to commit suicide, because we don't talk. Communication, yes, but there's a lion that's now been placed sometimes in a zoo, and it's hard to roar the same way in a domesticated environment. I'd welcome your thoughts. Let's talk about it. All right. Thanks so much. Have an awesome week. Later this week, in fact, tomorrow, is my daughter's birthday. I don't know that she wants me to tell you how old she is, but happy birthday, dear. God bless you. God keep you. Have an awesome day today.